Hello and welcome to my channel Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely crochet hat. Let's get started. Before we get started, I wanted to show the measurement of our hat. So the opening of our hat, it's 11 inches, and then when the starting of the crown to move up is 10 inches, and then from just before the fur pom-pom and to the end is 9 inches. So I just want to make sure you have those measurements before we get started. So let's make our hat. These are the supplies we're going to be using to make our hat. I'll go over them with you. The yarn that we're using is the Carrion Color Mania, the Ogo. It's the bulk 5, 100% acrylic, and the color is Concord Crush. We're only going to be using one of those. We're going to be using two different hook size. The first one is the USJ10. It's the 600 millimeter. The next one is the USK 10.5. It's the 6.50 millimeter. And a stitch marker, our yarn needle, a regular sewing thread, and a regular sewing needle, a scissors. Then we only need one button, and lastly our little faux fur pom-pom. Yeah, we're going to be attaching him to our hat. Regarding the information for the sewing thread, the sewing needle, and the buttons, and the size of the pom-pom, I'm going to put that below in the description, so check that out. But let's get started. This is how it looks when it came out the box. So what we're going to do now, we're going to separate the colors, and I'll show you how to do that. So right in the center, if you kind of pull it apart, right there you see that piece of attachment. What we're going to do is just cut it off. So when we cut that little part in the middle, you're just going to separate it by pulling it till we find where the color changes, and we're just going to cut it because we're going to separate each of them. So I'll just show you how to do one, and then you could do the rest. Okay, there you go. So that's one separation, and go ahead and do for the others. So we separated them, so let's get started. So we're going to get started with our, I would say, darker purple, the shade. And the hook size that we're going to be using is the smaller hook size. It's the USJ10. It's the 6.00 millimeter. And we're going to do a slipknot stitch to get started. This is how I do my slipknot stitch. I take the yarn, drape it over my 2 fingers, let it fall to the back. I take my hook, put it in the middle of my fingers, pull up a loop, and you have a knot. And then just tighten that knot against your hook, and there you go. So now we're going to chain 8 times, and a chain is yarn over your hook and pull across. So that's 1, yarn over and pull across 2, yarn over, pull across 3, yarn over, pull across, and 4. So keep on doing that till you get 8, and I'll meet you there. We completed doing our 8 chain. I'll show you how to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now our next step is we're going to, the second chain from our hook, not this one, but this one right here, we're going to put 1 single crochet. So a single crochet is go into that chain, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across. The next one is right here. Go into that chain, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across. Next one, I'll show you one more time. Go into that chain, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull across. So keep on doing that till you finish that round, and that will be the completion of round 1, and you will have 7 single crochet. So I'll meet you there. So now that's how we look when we completed row 1, 7 stitch. So now we're going to do row 2. So to start row 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. So now it's like we're going to work in the back of our work, but for me to show you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tilt it so you can see because now what we're going to do is work what you call the back post only of our work. And the back post consists of you pulling up from here, this loop of yarn. Because if we were doing the regular single crochet, we would go right between there, see right here, but that's not where we're going. Now we're going to go to where you make the top of the single crochet, and then you will divide it by saying this is the front of the loop, the post, and then this is the back post. So that's the one we're going to be using from now on. That's the pattern. So I'll show you. Go in there, the first one, and pull up. Look, we're just doing single crochet. It's just the way we're putting it is changing now. And then pull across, and that's it. So the next one would be right here. And then just pull up that loop and complete it by pulling across. Next one be right here. Pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull across. And just keep on doing that, and you will always have your 7 single crochet because we're not increasing or decreasing. So that's it. That's the pattern we're going to be using. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and we're going to meet all the way up to row 48. So jot down where you're at because we're going to meet there. And remember, it's back loops only. It's the same single crochet. It's just where we're putting it. So we made it up to row 48, and this is how we look. So now we're going to join it together. So to join it together, we're going to go into, like, we're going to make a single crochet right here to that first stitch, and then we're going to join it to the chain that we started with. So go into there, and then the chain over here, and that's how it looks, and then yarn over, and we're going to slip stitch down the end. Okay, so our slip stitch is just pull across that loop we have on our hook, and that's it. And now you're going to use the back loops only to go down to the end, to reach to the end. I'll show you the back loops that we've been doing to make our band, and also to the chain, and pull across those loops that we have on our hook, and there you go. So do that for additional 5 more times because we're going to put a 7 slip stitch down the end, and I'll meet you there. Now we completed that. We did 7. So now we're going to chain 1, and you see how it looks like that? What we're going to do, we're going to turn it inside out, and then see how it looks. Looks better that way. So this is the way we're going to work with it now, because we're going to put 54 single crochet around the top of it, and that will make the top of our hat. And we're going to be working in spiral now, and we're going to put 54 single crochet around the top. Okay, and what I do is with these gaps right here, I try to avoid them because they're so huge. They're when we made that last loop on the back loop before we turn when we're working, so I try to avoid that. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go through the double to pick up 2 loops of yarn. See, hopefully you can see good. There's 2 loops of yarn I grab up, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet. Single crochet is just yarn over and then pull through, and that's it. And you put the stitch marker in because this is where our stitch marker comes in now. We're going to keep that. So that's 1, and then right between here we're going to go come out that end. Single crochet again is 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull it across. That's it. Remember, try to avoid that because that's a big gap. It's going to show. So I'll meet you at the last stitch of this row, and this will be round 1 that we're going to complete when I meet you back at the stitch marker, the last stitch here. Okay, so we made it to doing our last single crochet for round 1 to start off on our crown. So you just go into that stitch, pull up a loop. Now we're going to drop the old color yarn because we're going to change to the new color yarn. New color is the lightest purple, I would say, in the batch. Give it a nice tail. So yarn over your hook and just pull across, and that's it. And that's how you change your color, because you dropped your old color and you're going to start with the new color. Now we're also going to change the hook size, so we're going to go to our larger hook size now, and that's the USK 10.5. It's the 6.50 mm being millimeters. So change that. And now we're also going to change, we're still doing the single crochet, but we're going to change where we put the single crochet. I'm leaving the stitch marker there for now, so I'm going to show you. And at this point, try to keep your stitches as loose as you can. So we would have, if we were doing the regular single crochet, we'd have went right where the stitch marker is, but we're not going there anymore. Now what we're going to do is called the waistcoat stitch. I hear it called different terms of the word they use for it. It's the center single crochet, or it's the split stitch, or the knit stitch. So I call it the waistcoat stitch. The waistcoat, I know it's a darker color yarn, so it's kind of hard to see, but when we get to the lighter color yarn, you'll see. We're going to go into the V, or the center of it. Remember, if it was the regular single crochet, it would have went where the stitch marker is, but not there. We're going to go in there. It's going to be tight for the first, because we're going to make, we have to do now, make it right there. See, you went through there, came out here. And that's how it is, and keep it as loose as you can. And it's a regular single crochet, so you have your 2 loops and just pull across to complete, and that's it. And of course, I'm going to move my stitch marker up, and in the space that we would have put the regular single crochet, so we know when we go to the next round. So now I'll show you again. It's in the V. There's a V in the middle of it, of our single crochet, and then just go in the middle of it, pull up. That's why they call it the center single crochet, because you're going in the center. That's it. So that's 2. And for the completion of round 2, you're going to have your 54 stitches, because that's what we did for round 1, and it's just going in the center. Okay, and I'll show you some more how to do it again as we go along, but you see how it's making like that V, so it's in that center we're gonna go. So I wanted to let you know you could cut off the old color yarn now, so it's not in your way when you're working, and then you could continue working with the new yarn. So do this for 10 times, and then I'll meet you there. So I'll meet you at round 10. So now we made it up to the starting of round 10. So we're going to change the color of our yarn. Of course, you drop the old color yarn, and so far this is how it looks. And then we're going to cut this off later. I just wanted to show you, well, for me later, but for you, you could cut it off so you don't be in your way. I just want to continue showing you what to do. So of course, give it a nice tail, because we're going to change color. I'll call this the regular purple, and that's it, how you change it, the last stitch on the row that we're working. So now we're going to start round 10, and then for round 10, 11, and 12, you're going to use this regular purple. And then I'll meet you there. So it's still the waistcoat. You go into the center of the stitch and pull up a loop, 2 yarns on your hook, yarn over and pull across. You're doing the regular single crochet, it's just the way we put it. And of course, remember to put your stitch marker back in so we don't lose our spot. Okay, so with the new color yarn, just go into the center of our stitch, and we're going to do the waistcoat. So you're not increasing or decreasing, so always you're going to have your 54. So that's how it looks. So keep on working with that pattern, and I'll meet you, remember, we're going to do this for round 10, 11, and 12. Okay, now we made it up to where we're going to start round 13 and complete round 12. So we're going to switch now to the other color yarn. I'll say it's like brown purple, call it that, brown purple, and just give it a nice tail again, change the color, yarn over, drop the old yarn, and pull across with the new yarn. That's it. So you're going to do this the same way we did for the regular purple. You're going to do this 3 times. So you're going to be doing row 13, 14, and 15. And then I'll meet you there and show you what to do next regarding what color to use. So just keep on doing the waistcoat in each stitch around. Remember to put your stitch marker in, and I meet you there. So keep on working with that pattern 3 more times, and remember it's 13, 14, and 15, and I meet you there. This is how we look. We made it up to the last stitch to do for round 15. Now we're going to change the color back to our, like I said, it's like a regular purple, lavender. So make it a nice tail, and then yarn over, and then just pull across that last stitch we're going to make. So that's the completion of round 15. Now round 16, all we're going to do is just do a regular waistcoat stitch. So remember, you're going into the center and then pull up that loop and complete it as a regular single crochet. And of course, put your stitch marker back in. So that's it for round 16. And when you get back to that last stitch, I'll show you what to do next. So we made it up to do that last stitch for round 16. I just wanted to show you too, I didn't cut off the old yarn that we were working with because I just wanted to continue working so I could show you what to do. I cut it off later. So do the regular waistcoat. Now for round 17, what we're going to do is for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitch, we're going to just do a regular waistcoat stitch. And then when you finish that, I'll meet you there. So let me take out, remember to take out your stitch marker and move it up. We put it in the area where the regular single crochet would go, but we're doing the waistcoat. So do that for 7 times, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so we did those 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now what we're going to do with these 2 stitches, we're going to tuck them together. I'll show you how to do that. Go into it in the middle, pull up a loop, keep those 2 loops on our hook, go into the next center, pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. To complete it, yarn over and pull across all of them, and that's it. So that's the pattern we're going to do. So for the following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're going to put the regular waistcoat, and then the following 2, what you're going to do with the following 2 is you're going to tuck them together. So I'm going to show you again how to do it when we get further up, so don't worry about it, but that's the pattern for round 17. Keep on working with that till you get back to the stitch marker, and I'll show you what to do next. So now we're at the last 2 stitch to do for round 17, and the pattern is we're going to tuck them together. So go into the center, pull up a loop. Next one, keep those loops on your hook, go into it, pull up a loop, and to complete it, you pull across, but we're going to drop the old yarn and we're going to start with the new yarn because we're going to change it for round 18. So we're going to start that. And just also to, when we were doing the other rounds, till we get up to round 17, we had our 54 stitches. So now we're decreasing. So when we complete round 17 by tugging these 2, we're down to 48 stitches. I just want to let you make sure you know that. So start round 18. We're going to change it by pulling across, by just pulling a loop. That's it. And now we're going to continue with the new yarn, and the yarn that we're using is the one we used here. It's like I said, it was like the brown purple, if you like that color. But so we're going to start 18, and what we're going to do is for the first 6 stitches, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to do the waistcoat stitch. So just go in the center, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull across. And remember to put your stitch marker, move it up, and when you completed those 6, I'll meet you there and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we completed those 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what we're going to do, we're going to tug these 2 together. But as you see, this is where we tug from the previous row, so the V is not as pronounced. It's like a lot of stitches together, but we're going to go right in here when we're tugging it. that part. Hopefully you can see good, and you'll come out the back like that. Okay, so it looks a little different than the ones we were doing previously. So go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, keep it on your hook, and then go into this right here. Find the middle where we tucked together previous row, and see how it looks, and then yarn over to complete it and pull across. So that's the pattern for round 18. You're going to do 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the following 2 where we also tug that bunch in the middle, you're going to tug there also too. So that's the pattern. Then I'll meet you back at the stitch marker, and I'll show you what to do next. And I didn't cut off the old yarn yet, but when I do, I'll do it later. So I just wanted to keep on working and show you what to do next. So that's for round 18, the pattern. Keep on working with that, and I'll meet you there. We're going to complete round 18 by doing our tug together, and by completing that we have 42 stitches. Now for round 19, what we're going to do is just going to do 1 waistcoat stitch around in each stitch. Okay, so then you will still have your 42 stitches. So when you finish that, I meet you back at the stitch marker. So just keep on working with that pattern. Okay, we completed round 19. For round 20, for the first 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to do a regular waistcoat, and the next 2 we're going to tug together. So that's the pattern we're going to do. So I'll show you. So we do the regular waistcoat, and we're going to do it 5 times. Put your stitch marker back in where we would do the regular single crochet. So do that for 5 times, and I meet you and I show you how to do the tug again. Okay, so we did those 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for round 20, that's the pattern, and we're going to tug the following 2, and that's it. So you, for the next stitches, you're going to do that 5 times. You're going to follow that pattern. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the waistcoat, and you're going to tug 2 stitches together. So follow that pattern for 5 times, and I meet you back at the stitch marker, and I'll show you what to do next. So for the completion of round 20, we have 36 stitches. So now we're going to start round 21. And for the first 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to do the regular waistcoat, and then we're going to tug the 2 together. So that's the pattern. So keep on working with that pattern of, and let me move my stitch marker up so I don't forget. And then you're going to tug the following 2, and then I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. So keep on working with that pattern. So the pattern you're going to do 5 more times again when you do this first pattern. In total you would do it 6 times. So it's the first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tug the other 2 together. I'll meet you at the stitch marker. Okay, we completed round 21 with 30 stitches. Now for round 22. What we're going to do, the pattern is the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. You're going to put a waistcoat stitch, just 1, and then you're going to tug the following 2. So that's the pattern for round 22. So you're going to do that 6 times, and then I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. So remember to move your stitch marker up as you go along. So remember again, the first 3, 1, 2, 3, the next following, you tug together. So keep on working, and I meet you there. So now we completed round 22 with a total of 24 stitches. Now for round 23. The pattern that we're going to follow is the first 2, just do 1 waistcoat, and the following 2 you're going to tug together. So you're going to follow that pattern 6 times, and then I meet you back at the stitch marker. So it's the first 2, you're just going to do one waistcoat. Remember to put your stitch marker so you don't lose your spot, okay? So keep on working with that pattern of the first two, and the next two you're going to tuck together. Okay, we have completed our round 23. We have 18 stitches. Now for round 24, for the first stitch right there, we're going to do one waistcoat. And then move our stitch marker up so we don't lose our spot. And then for the following two, we're going to tug together. And that's the pattern for round 24. Okay, so you're going to do that additional 5 more times. So you're going to do one waistcoat and tug 2 together. And then when you finish with that pattern 5 more times, I'll meet you back at the stitch marker and I'll show you what to do next. So this will be our last stitch for round 24, and we're going to tug it together, and with the completion of this stitch we will have 12 stitches to complete round 24. And now chain 1, and that's it. And now I'm going to pull up a tail, a nice tail, about 8 to 10 inches. I grab my yarn needle and my scissors to cut it off, and I'm going to show you how to start weaving the top in and close up our hat. So I got my yarn needle, I cut off my yarn, and see where we have our stitch marker, like we were going to put a regular single crochet. We're going to go through that top and just leave the stitch marker there for now, and then come back out the next one, and that's how we're going to close it up. And you're just going to pull it so it closes up. So it's just in and out of your stitches that you're going to do, like you're doing a regular single crochet, in and out. See, now we made it back to our stitch marker. Tighten it up a little bit. So now we're going to take it and we're just going to poke it inside. I move my stitch marker right where the stitch marker is, and we're going to weave it in inside. Okay, so I'll meet you inside. So I made it inside. So what I'm going to do, in the little gap that you see showing, and also to try hide the tail, we're going to hide it by going back over those stitches, and that's all we're going to do to hide our tail. Okay, so keep on working with that pattern, and I'll show you what to do next. Are all our ends that we need to weave in. So what I do, I just give them a little knot, the two that's close together, so it stay in place, and then I start weaving in. And then we had 2 out here. So what you're going to do is take a smaller hook and just pull it through, and do the same thing, give it a little knot, and then weave it in, and that's it. So I've weaved in all the others, and these are the only 2 left. So I have my yarn needle, and now I'll show you how to weave it in. Since our hat is inside out, we're going to sew on our button. So I have my sewing needle and my sewing thread, and remember to get the thread as closely as you can to the yarn you finish off with. Okay, so we have our button. It's a full hole. We're going to eventually go through, but to start off, I just want to center it as best as I can and just go here. So because I made little knots, but if you pull it all the way through, it comes out. But I just wanted this part not to show from outside. And then you go through the top and keep your stitches so that you hide it as best you can. So it's right in the middle, and we're inside out. So that's all we're going to do, sew on the button. That's it for a button. So let's turn it inside out now. So I have my small hooks and my faux fur. So now we're going to attach it. What I'm going to do is we're going to use it has a little elastic band here. So I'm going to go through the top of the hat and pull it back over the button. And that's it, we're going to attach it. So that's it. We completed making our hat with our pom-pom fur. I think it came out really nice. It's a quick little easy project. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to see your project, how they came out. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.